At first, it was like shock. I remember when we first got diagnosed. I mean, Mark sat there and looked at me. He told doctor, he goes, "Look, I got to be at a tournament next weekend." He goes, "I got to go." And Mark was just in.
He didn't want to start treatment. He wanted to go to that tournament.
He wanted to go to hockey.
He said he was going to conquer the leukemia. He was going to get back on the ice and do what he loved.
Mark Woodcock loved hockey. From the first time he laced up his skates, hockey was in his blood.
Hockey was his true love. He wants to become an NHL player.
Go out there and they have those little devices that you hold on to try to skate around.
Scooter.
And Mark would refuse. He just stepped on the ice. I remember from that time and taking pictures, the falls, the almost concussion, and things like that from that first learn to skate that he did. But he was skating. And by the time he was done, he was skating.
He had a really good shot. One thing I always remember is we had a shootout, and he came in on the blue line and he went bar down. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. He had no expression on his face.
One memory that I had of Mark was when we were in Jay-Z, and he put tape over his stomach, and he made a face on his chest, and he'd run around the lobby at below freezing level, running around screaming like I'm a monster, and he'd just run around. And it was funny because he would always wreck people on the ice too.
But there was something else in Mark's blood, a deadly cancer. Mark was diagnosed with leukemia last June.
As Mark battled the disease, getting back to the ice was always a goal. Almost to the day, doctors told him he could return to sports 6 months after his initial diagnosis, Mark was back on the ice.
Oh God, he had the biggest smile on his face that you would ever see.
Oh, that first practice. Oh, you couldn't, that's all you can see was his smile. He was just, and he didn't want to take a break. Coach kept asking him, "You want to take a break?" He said, "Nope, I'm fine. Nope, I'm fine." And he stayed out there with every one of his teammates and did everything they did. Would not come off that ice until Coach said it was time, and he was the last one off the ice.
He played one game with us, and he did stand up another kid right in the blue line. Stood him up. He had an assist first game.
His leukemia was in remission, but that also left him with a depleted white blood cell count. Because of that, he was vulnerable to even common bacteria and infections. On February 13th, Mark Woodcock suddenly passed away from complications of his disease.
Which was kind of a really surprise to everybody, I mean, even the physicians that were taking care of him. So, I mean, leukemia was gone at that time. The bacteria just takes over everything, and it just started. I mean, God, it was in hours. It just went from being fine to being gone.
Mark's death was felt throughout the Saratoga hockey community. Saratoga players of all ages and even their opponents have adopted orange as their color for leukemia awareness, and the varsity team held a moment of silence in Mark's honor before a recent game.
The hockey community's lost a lot of young people in the past, and they always group together and pull together for families, and it's one big family.
It's just, I'm glad that they're doing it because, I mean, I love Mark. He was like a brother to me, so I think I'm going to tape my stick orange for the rest of the year and probably years ahead too, so.
He said that next year he was going to play for the high school. Only, he was going to be a ninth grader, but he said he would be on that team. It was like an honor. And I know that Friday night high school game they played, I think LaSalle, and they wanted to have a moment of silence for Mark before the game, and they did, and it was just so moving and just such an honor that they would do that for Mark. And because he wasn't on the team, but he wanted to be on the team.
To honor Mark, Saratoga Youth Hockey has set up a scholarship fund in his name, and his family remembers how he approached hockey and life.
Just to never quit.
Just, yeah, never quit. Because that wasn't Mark. Mark would never quit.